Welcome to Cooking with Nick, the cooking class that will show you how to prepare a quick and healthy four-course dinner in a short amount of time. There's nothing more important than eating dinner with your family as often as possible. With a little preparation and some quick tips from me, you will always have time to make dinner for your family. So if we're all ready to cook, let's get started on our meal for today. What we're going to do, we're going to be doing a meal where the entree is going to be white Burgundy chicken. Okay, it's kind of like a very heavy soup or stew. It's a cross between those two, but it's something that you can make very quickly. This is part of the three-part series where people last time I taught the classes wanted me to do more stuff with chicken. So I said, okay, so I developed these three meals that all have chicken in them. So that's how this came about. We're also going to have a broccoli salad. Very simple, easy to make, takes about 10 minutes to put it all together. Something you can have on hand and ready to go in no time at all. And it's one of those salads that you could make the day before. It sits in your refrigerator and gets better as it sits there. Okay, we're going to do a side dish of almond rice pilaf. Well, it's not really pilaf, it's kind of almond rice that we're going to do. And you know that I use instant rice when I do this. That makes the meal a lot faster. But you could do the same thing using regular rice that you cook, okay? Long grain rice. And the dessert, I like peach melba. But I don't like how long it takes to make it. So I sat down and with my son and I, we sat down and tried to figure out how we were going to do all of this and make it faster. So this is going to be peach melba in an instant, okay? But it all has all of the same tastes that you get in a regular peach melba, okay? So that's what we're going to do with that. The first thing, we're going to start with the entree, okay? And what we want to do is get the entree going. We're going to get the chicken browned up and get that cooked and let that simmer a little bit. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll make the rice, and then I'll make the salad, and then you guys are going to have salad first, then you'll have the entree and rice, and then we'll get into the dessert. So the whole meal should take no more than 40 minutes to complete everything, okay? But we usually run this time because you have time to eat, okay? And everything goes. I don't take any food home, so you need to eat. Otherwise, you end up taking it home, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of this pan, and you need to make this, you're going to need a heavy crock pot, a heavy pot, stock pot, okay? And I'm going to put the heat on fairly high. And I always get confused with the stove because it's the opposite of what my stove is at home. So I always put the wrong one on, so we'll see if it comes on. Okay, what I'm going to do is I have some pancetta. Pancetta is Italian bacon. If you see it in the deli or whatever, it comes in a round loaf like this and it has like little pieces of pistachio in it and heavy pieces of ground black pepper. But the difference between that and regular bacon that we're used to is it's not smoked. Okay, so it's got a totally different flavor than regular bacon. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here and I just want to get it browned a little bit because it's going to be a background flavor for what we're doing in this stew. And it comes on a roll, or you can get it at the store and it's already chopped up for you. Okay, so however you want to do that. Okay, so we're going to get that browned up. In the meantime, when that gets finished browning, I'm going to take that out, and then I'm going to brown the chicken in here. So what I have here, those people know, last time I were here, we had a fire going. But, okay, I have a paper bag, and what I have here is I have about 2.5 pounds of chicken breasts. You can use chicken thighs. You can use whatever kind of chicken you like. I like to use chicken breasts. And what I did is I cut it up into little cubes, little bite-sized pieces. And if you know you're going to make this dish, when you get the chicken home, instead of putting the whole big package in your freezer, take it out, clean it up a little bit, you put it in packages of 2, or if you know you're going to do this, cube it and put it in your freezer, and then it's ready for you to go. Then you don't have to spend all that time doing that. Okay, you can see this is starting to sizzle already. Got to keep my eye on that because that's going to go very quickly. What I want to do with this is I want to get this in flour, and then we're going to brown it a little bit. And what the flour does, it acts as a coating, and it's also going to act as a thickener when we start making the stew. So what you can do is just take a paper bag. I have about a cup of flour, and throw that in. I'm going to season it up a little bit. Those of you who've been before know I have a combination in this jar. It's salt and pepper, because every time you read something it says add salt and pepper, so I just put it together. So it just saves you a little bit of time. So we're adding salt and pepper. Okay, a little bit of that. I'm going to put in a little bit of garlic powder. If you watch Paula Dean's show, and she talks about our house seasoning, it's salt, pepper, and garlic powder. So you could get a jar like this for about $12. So that's all that's in there. I'm going to add a little bit of my Buddy crushed pepper, red pepper flakes, with the lid on. Okay, just a little bit of that. Just to season up the flour, give it a little shake. Okay. Now we don't want that to burn, we just want to get a little bit of color on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chicken, which is all, cubed up, just going to dump it in here. This also saves you a lot of time when you're cooking because then you don't have to handle the chicken. When you have all this stuff out, you don't have to get the cutting board out, separate cutting board, you don't have to worry about all that. So that part's already done. Okay? Just close it up, give it a couple of shakes. Okay? And that looks good. You could do the same recipe if you wanted to do it and you don't like chicken, you want to use pork. Okay, you could use pork, the same thing. Okay, I'm just going to get a little pan so I can take this pancetta out because I don't want it to get really, really burnt. What I'm going to do next is put the chicken in here, get the chicken, and I'm going to take the chicken out, and then I'm going to do the vegetables, and then add the wine, okay, and chicken stock, okay. Okay, I'm going to take this out now because it's about the color that I wanted. Just wanted to get a little bit of color on it. You don't want it to get really, really burnt because we're going to throw it back in. And it'll continue to cook a little bit more. But we want that flavor from the bacon in there when we brown the chicken. Okay, I'm going to put that off to the side. I'm going to add just a little bit more oil to this. Okay, now I'm going to start putting the chicken in. When you put the chicken in here, make sure you're going to have to do this in 2 batches, okay? Because if you put the chicken in here real close together, what's going to happen to it? It's going to steam, okay? It won't brown, okay? So it'll steam. So you got to make sure you leave a little bit of room in there. And this will not be cooked all the way through at this point, okay? We just want to get a little bit of color on it. We're going to take it out because then we're going to put everything back in and let it cook after that with all the vegetables. Okay. While that's doing its thing there, let me move this over here. I'm going to start cutting up some of the vegetables. Okay, I have vegetables that have some white potatoes. If you use white potatoes, they're very, very thin-skinned, so you really don't have to peel them. Okay? Or if you use Yukon Gold potatoes, a very thin skin, then you can just chop them up and throw them in, and you don't have to peel them. Save you a little bit of time. Okay? So I have carrots. Carrots that are peeled. You know, I did that right before I came. And some celery that I had wrapped in towel. And we're going to throw in an onion. And this is going to be the basis of our stew. Okay, I don't know if you can see up there, but it's starting to get a little bit of color on it. It's not going to be cooked all the way through. Okay. And then we're also at the end going to add a package of pearl onions. Okay, these you can just find in the frozen case. Rather than doing your own, if you have cipollini onions, that's what they are, and you can buy them raw. Okay, if you wanted to do that, what you can do, the easiest way to peel those kind of onions is to throw them in some boiling water and take them right out, and then the skins will come right off. So that's the easiest way to do it. Or you can just buy these. Okay, and then we're going to throw in some peas at the end, which are just regular. These are frozen peas. I just took them out of the freezer right before I came. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to get this onion. This is a good sized onion. Okay. And we'll see if I survive this, because I just sharpened that knife before I came. So this is my wife. She says, you have the cell phone? Be calling 911. Okay. So the best way to take the onion is just cut the onion a little bit like this, and then go in here and just peel the whole thing right off. It comes off. Okay. And don't get nervous when you're doing this part that you have all that mucky stuff on the bottom from the flour, because what's going to happen is when we put the wine in there, it's going to deglaze the pan. Okay, and all that stuff will come up, and that's where all the flavor is. That's what's going to give you the good flavor when you're in there. Okay, so you want to save that. Okay, so I'm just going to get this onion, and I'm just going to rough chop it. So you're not really going to make them real small pieces, okay? Because when you eat this, you want to see what it looks like. The only thing I'm going to make really small, smaller than the other vegetables, is the potato, okay? Because the potato, otherwise, will take a long time to cook. Okay, so this batch I'm going to take out now. This has got a little bit of color. Okay, and that's kind of what you're looking for. You can see it's got a little bit of color on it. Okay, there I'm going to add just a little bit more oil in here. Okay, and then I'm going to pop the rest of the chicken in. Okay, again, spread them out so they're not crowded. Then you just throw it away, so you don't have to worry about that. Give my hands a quick wash here. Okay, so wait for that. So the vegetables I'm going to put in here, I got onions. I'm going to get the rest of these carrots, get these carrots chopped up, and the celery. You really don't have to cut the celery in half if you don't want to, okay? But they're going to be fairly good-sized pieces. Okay, just remember when you're cutting that you want to keep your hand like this and the knife like this, so you don't want to cut like this, you know. So make sure your knuckles, because the blade will hit your knuckles instead of cutting off your fingers. Okay. I told you the guys that's a story when I was teaching at Halloween, right, the night on Halloween, when I was doing that, and I had one of those fake fingers on, and I was teaching people how to cut, and I went like that, and the finger came off, and they all panicked. They ran to call 911, and I had, you know, I was like, it's only a joke. But so I never did that again. Okay. What's going to happen as soon as this chicken is done, everything's going to go, all the vegetables are going to go into the pot. I know it seems like you have a lot of stuff that's going in here, but once the chicken is done and everything's in the pot, then you don't do anything. You just let it cook. Okay, got that done. Okay, that's got color on it. I'm going to take that out. Remember, at this point, all you're looking for is the color. Okay, so let me lower that. I'm going to start tossing in all the vegetables. Put a little more oil in there just to get that. And because I like the taste, I'm going to put in a little bit of butter. Okay. I don't really cook with a lot of butter. But I like to use it in sauces and just to give it a little nice flavor. Okay, so we got that in. Okay, now everything goes in. And what we're going to do once this gets cooked a little bit is basically going to throw some flour in there and start to make like a little bit of a roux. And the roux is going to be the thickening agent. Okay, got that in. Mushrooms, buy them already sliced. They're the same price as if you buy them whole. So just throw them in there. The pearl onions and the peas we're going to add almost at the very end, because we don't want the peas to get mushy. Okay, the pearl onions, those pearl onions are already cooked, they're just frozen. So we really don't want to get them real mushy. So what I'm going to do with this potato is I'm going to start making small little slices. Okay. And I'm going to make the pieces fairly small because I want the potato to cook quickly. Bless you. If you wanted to save yourself even more time, instead of having to cut the potatoes, what you can do is get a bag of the frozen hash browns, the ones that are not seasoned, okay? And you could use those at this point. Put those in. I use those a lot, like if I make potato soup. You know, I'll use a combination of the frozen hash browns and regular potatoes, and it gives it a nice little thickness. Remember, I haven't added any salt and pepper to this yet. And what you want to do, you want to make sure you keep stirring it because you want all the vegetables to be coated. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper at this point, and then finish up that last potato. What happens in there now, when you add the mushrooms, what happens is the mushrooms absorb a lot of that oil. Okay, so that's why you got to keep stirring it and watch to make sure that they don't burn. Okay, got that all in. What you want to do is, as you're stirring this, you want to scrape the bottom, because that's where a lot of the flavor is going to be, from all that stuff on the bottom when we cook the chicken. Okay, I'm going to let that go for a little bit, for about 4 or 5 minutes until that gets some color. Then I'm going to start adding a little bit of flour to thicken it up. And when we add the flour to this, we want to make sure that you don't see the flour after we put it in. So you got to keep stirring it and make sure you don't see the flour, because you want to cook that flour taste out. Otherwise, it'll taste like you know, when you made flour and water in elementary school and you ate it. That's what it tastes like. So you don't want that taste in your soup. So you want to. Yeah, I used to tell people to eat it. No, sorry. So you want to make sure that you get that taste out of it. So let that go just another second or so. We'll get that going. Okay, we're going to add these in, and then we're going to just let that cook a little bit. Okay, I'm going to throw in some flour. This is about four tablespoons. And usually when you put the flour, if you put like 4 tablespoons of flour, you're going to put 4 cups of liquid. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio, and that's going to be a thickener. Okay. And don't get nervous at this point, because what happens is it looks like you made a mistake. It looks like you threw everything in a cement mixer, and it's real thick and gooey, but that's okay. That's what you want. Okay, it's just basically making a roux. Okay, a roux is butter and flour. What some people do is they'll take like this much butter. It's just about 4 or 5 ounces of butter. They'll put 4 or 5 tablespoons of flour in it, and then mix it like a paste, and you leave that in the refrigerator, and then use that as a thickener when they're cooking soups and stews. Okay, so you can just mix it that way, and you just have it ready to go. When you do a lot of French cooking, that's what the French cooking, they'll have the roux on the mixture on the side, and then they just keep adding it. Okay, so we can't see any. I don't know if you can see up there, but we can't see any more flour in here, and that's what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding the liquid. Okay, this is white Burgundy wine. Okay, if you can't find white Burgundy, again, you can use Chardonnay. This is about, I don't know, pint and a half. I just threw it in. I think it was left over. I could drink it, so I'll throw it in. Okay, so we throw that in, and then what we're going to do now is just start scraping the bottom and the sides, because that's going to deglaze the pan. It's going to pull up all that brown stuff from the bottom. And you will never be able to tell how thick your stew is going to be, or your soup, until it comes back up to a boil. Okay, so don't think you have to keep adding stuff to it to thicken it up, because once it comes to a boil, that's when it starts to thicken up. Okay, so I'm going to add some chicken stock. You can just go buy it, or if you have homemade chicken stock, whatever you want to use. Okay. So we have those flavors all in here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to have a little bit of water on just handy in case it gets too thick. Then you want to add a little water. You could add a little more wine. You could add a little more stock, whichever you want to do. Okay. So we're going to have that come up to a boil, a simmer. And then what we're going to do with that is we're going to throw the chicken back in. We're going to put the pancetta in. We're going to put the peas in. We're going to put the onions in. And then we're just going to let it sit here for about 15 minutes and cook. Okay? And the only way to tell about the seasoning is to taste it. So who wants to taste test this? Christy, come on up here. See if it's got enough salt in it and pepper. I don't really cook with a lot of salt, but the pancetta is salty. So just dip that spoon in there and give it a taste. Okay?
Yeah, tastes fine. Tastes good.
Yeah. Well, it's white Burgundy chicken. You're supposed to taste the wine, but a lot of that'll cook, with the rest of the ingredients in there. So, if you want to make this and you don't like wine, then go get another recipe. because the wine is the ingredient that you want in here. You could probably make the same recipe using beef cubes, and just follow exactly the same. Use beef stock, and then use red Burgundy wine. Okay, so it would be like a beef bourguignon. Beef Burgundy is what it would be. Okay, so it would be almost exactly the same thing. So you just switch it. The point of me giving you these recipes is just a starting point for you, because I'd like you to experiment with these and change it a little bit, because that's what I do. When I get up at 5 in the morning and I'm running around my kitchen, my wife's yelling at me. So you need to experiment, change recipes, and whatever. And if you try something like that, you can email me and let me know, because I always like to see how people use stuff and how it worked. Okay, this is coming to a simmer, so I'm going to put all the chicken back in. I'm going to put the pancetta back in. Okay, pancetta has got a little bit of salty taste to it, so we got that going. I'm going to pop these onions in. Did Mrs. McGann need anything when she came in here, or did she just come and get a snack? Oh. Okay, so we got those in. Going to throw the peas in. And that's it. Let that come back up to a simmer. The onions were still just a little bit frozen, so it's going to take a little bit longer. Once that comes, I'm going to put the cover on it and just leave it alone. Okay, let it go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the rice. So if you look at your recipe, it's going to be on the second page, on the back. And you can see from that, very, very simple. Is that going to bother you if I put that there? Okay, going to brown. I'm going to chop up some onion. I have right here. I had some onion in my refrigerator, so I didn't want to waste it, so I brought it tonight. And again, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in here just to give the onion some place to cook. And again, this is Filiberio olive oil. I use a variety. I usually buy the one that's on sale. If it's buy one, get one free, I buy it. But I usually buy it in a gallon. It's a lot cheaper to buy it that way. So I'm going to brown a little bit of onion. Basically what's in here is onion. We're going to put some, slivered almonds, chicken stock. Actually, what I'm going to use tonight is vegetable stock in this. Okay, just to give it a little bit of a different taste, because we have chicken stock in here. And you want to get a dice on this. And this is going to give a nice, it seems like an odd combination when you have almonds and onions, but when you taste it, it's going to have a nice combination. And if you wanted to, instead of using regular rice, white rice, you could use instant brown rice for this. I know a lot of people are into using brown rice. Okay. And I don't want to get that really, really cooked. I just want it to have a nice little, a little bite to it. Can you see how thick, how this is thickening up in here? Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of water, and then I'm going to cover it and just let it do its thing. Just remember, we cut the chicken up into little bite-sized pieces, so the chicken's really not going to take very long to cook. Okay? So that's probably going to take maybe about 15 minutes, and that'll be done. Okay, we have a nice color on that. What I want to do is I'm going to get this rice going, get this going, then I'm going to make the salad. You guys will eat the salad, and then we'll start working on the other stuff. Okay? Clean up a little bit here. I'm anal about cleaning, so. Okay. Let's see. This is about 3 cups of regular instant rice. This is slivered almonds. Remember, if you have the nuts, because they have a lot of oil in it, they will spoil very quickly. So you want to. We sound like a whore. You want to store your nuts in the freezer, So, but my wife says, "Can't you think of a different way to say that?" I said, "Well, that's what you have to do, and then you have a longer shelf life for them." So, and at my age, you need a long shelf life. Let me tell you. Okay, so we got that going. I'm going to add about 3 cups. So it's got a nice little color on it. I'm going to pop a little salt and pepper in there. Okay, I'm going to put some of the almonds in there just to get them toasted a little bit. It's always nice to get toasted. There, put some of those in. That's why I cook with wine a lot. Okay. We can edit that out, can't we? Put that there. Okay, that's got a nice little color on the onions. The onions start to get a little bit translucent, so you don't want to get them really brown. Okay, so I'm going to put stock in. You can see the color of the vegetable stock has a slightly darker color, so it'll give the rice a little darker color. Okay, 3. Okay, we can bring that up to a boil. And I'm going to add a little bit of almond extract to this. When you buy the extracts, make sure you get pure stuff, because if you get the imitation stuff, you have to use a lot more of it to get the same effect. So you really actually save yourself money. If you didn't have almond extract and you had amaretto in your house, you could use amaretto in here, okay, instead of the extract. I would just put a little bit more of the amaretto in. Okay. So that'll be coming to a boil. Let me clear some of this out of the way. As soon as that comes to a boil, you throw in the rice, put the cover on, and then put it on this back burner and let it do its thing, and then we'll be ready to go. This is going nicely here. And boy, you can smell that wine. You take that cover off there. Whew. Smells good. Okay, let that keep going. Okay, that's coming to a boil. I'm going to put the rice in. This is about a little over 3 cups. Now when you do instant rice, make sure that when you put the rice in, I know it says to add the rice and then put the cover on and shut it off immediately. Just make sure it comes back up to a simmer before you take it off the heat. Okay. Smell that almond. Okay, so that's back up to a heat. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm just going to move this to the back. So by the time that's ready, then this should be ready. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to page 1. I'm going to do the salad. Okay. I don't think I put the thyme in there. Did I put the thyme in that chicken? Okay. I didn't have any fresh thyme, so I'm going to use thyme, chopped up thyme. Thyme actually has a lemony flavor to it, you know, so gives it a little bit of a zing. If you want to, at the end, just before you serve this, you could squeeze some lemon juice over it or a little bit of lemon zest right over it. Get that in. Okay, move some of this out of the way. Now this salad basically uses red onion. When I stack my bowls, like I probably told you this before, I have these bowls already stacked. I always put a paper towel in there, so when it keeps them loose in case there's any moisture in there. But it's also good so when you have a paper towel handy when you start cooking. So always have that handy. So I always stack that in between. Very simple dressing. These are broccoli crowns. What I did is I bought the crowns, and then I cut them a little bit. I made them a little bit smaller than they were, but you could buy them, already chopped up if you go to a salad bar or whatever. So, okay, and add. It says cherry tomatoes, but if you can find grape tomatoes, those are the ones that are a little bit smaller, then you won't have to cut them up. Okay, so we're going to put these in here. I'm going to use red onion. This onion is huge, so I don't know if I'm going to use the whole thing, but let's see. And for this, you want to dice the onion. Okay, you don't really want big chunks of it. Let's see how much this gives us. One of the things when you're in your kitchen is make sure you have a really big cutting board. because it gives you a lot more room. But this is kind of cramped in here. At home, I have a much larger cutting board. And you could cut and move stuff off to the side all the time, and nothing gets in your way. Whew. Okay, I think I'll do just a little bit more. Okay. Save this for later. Ah, I know. It's just so sad. Ah. This always happens when I cut onions. No matter what I try, put them in the freezer. Actually, what I started doing was buying onions that are already diced. They're in the freezer compartment. I don't really like them as well, but well, this is going to town here. Can't see. Okay, I'm going to add cheddar cheese. That in there. You never have enough cheese. And then I have some bacon. And if you don't want to fry bacon, or if you don't have any left over or whatever, just you can use bacon bits. Okay, but make sure you get the real bacon bits. Don't get the, this is just bacon that I fried up this afternoon. Excuse me, but that onion, should have had you cut that onion. Holy mackerel. Okay, I'm just going to dice this up. And the dressing for this is very simple. It's mayonnaise, white vinegar, a little bit of sugar. But this is a salad. I said if you have to go to a potluck dinner or something like that, this is easy to make, and you can make it the day before or 2 days ahead. Let it sit in your refrigerator, and it'll be good to go. Okay, get that in there. Let me give this a toss. And then I'm going to make the dressing that's going to go on this. Now the dressing is just mayonnaise, vinegar. We'll just whip it together. And the dressing, the dressing, you have to make the dressing based on how much salad you have. So this one here, I think it says 2 cups, 1 cup. What does it say? 1 cup of mayonnaise, but we have a lot more salad than we would normally have. Okay, the white vinegar. Or you can use apple cider vinegar if you like that taste. Just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And some sugar. And again, I'm going to eyeball it, and then I'm going to taste it. It needs more vinegar, I could tell right away. You could probably make the same salad and use Italian dressing on it if you wanted to, or a Parmesan dressing. You could use that. give that a taste. I think it needs red pepper, but I'm not going to put it. Okay, so that's it. That's what our dressing is. And again, what will happen as it sits is that the sugar will get more and more absorbed into the mayonnaise. So you might have a little bit of a sugary taste when you first eat this, but okay. And if you're not going to use this right away, just pour the dressing on top, and what will happen as it sits in your refrigerator, the dressing will go down. Okay, and then you can just toss it when you're ready to eat. Another trick, if you're making a salad, a regular salad, an old catering trick, is if you're not going to use that salad right away, put the dressing on the bottom of the bowl. Take your salad bowl, put the dressing on the bottom. Okay, then add all your greens and vegetables on top. Put it in your refrigerator. It'll stay there for 4 or 5 hours. Then when you're ready to serve it, just toss it. So the dressing will be on the bottom. It won't wilt all the lettuce that's on top. Okay, you may have a couple of pieces on the bottom, but that's where you put, like if you have tomatoes in there or carrots, put that in first, and then put the lettuce leaves or the mixed greens on top. Okay, so they're not touching the dressing, and then flip it at the last minute when you're ready to serve it. It just saves you a little bit of time when you're you're entertaining. Okay, so that's done. Give this a toss. If you don't like broccoli and you wanted to make this salad, you could use cauliflower. Okay. Or if you really like the people who are coming to dinner, use a combination of both. You don't use broccoli and cauliflower. Okay. I have the craisins over there. I'm going to put those in. And I'm going to use craisins. These right here. If you don't have these and you want to just use regular raisins, you can just use raisins. You could put in as much as you like, whatever.
So if you were making to take something, like to a dish to pass, and making it ahead of time, would you just pour the dressing on it and then wait to toss it?
Yeah, I would put the dressing on it, and what will happen is, as it sits there, the dressing starts to sink down, but that takes a long time. Okay, it'd take at least 4 or 5 hours for it to sink all the way to the bottom. So you just put it on top, just cover it with saran wrap, stick it in your refrigerator, and when you're ready to go, you're all set. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the time we eat. So usually we're over here, but I'm going to move it over here. And I mean, you have to get up. I do not serve you. Okay? So the plates are over there. There are bowls. I'll put this over here. You guys can eat. By the time we get through this, I'll clean up a little, get ready for dessert, and then you're going to have the entree in the side. Everybody enjoyed that salad? It was good. Again, we had some good ideas to put in there. Fairly said you could throw some chicken in there, make it into a main meal. You could add some walnuts to that, dress it up a little bit. If you wanted to, you could put shrimp in there. Okay, you could turn it into a shrimp salad. So you could add, you could put in grapes. Okay, that would give it another little texture in there. So you can just play with that recipe and just put in there whatever you want and have fun with it. That's what it's designed for. Okay, I just checked our chicken, our Burgundy chicken. You can see it is nice and thick. I'm going to turn that off, okay, because that's going to be ready to go. So the one thing you want to make sure when you do this is you just want to make sure that you test the potatoes, because the potatoes are what will take the longest. Okay, the chicken is cut up into small cubes. The vegetables are all small. So the potatoes are the only thing that you want to make sure are thoroughly cooked. Okay, so that's going to be ready to eat. We have our rice, our almond rice back here. And I'm just going to fluff it up a little bit. I could smell the almond in here. It has the little onion in here and the slivered almonds. If you wanted to serve this, you could serve this over a white rice or a brown rice and just serve it as a one-pot meal, put the rice in, and then just throw it on top. You could do the same thing with this if you want to, but you can serve this on the side also. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, since this is ready, I'm going to put this out. You guys are going to have an entree on the side, and I'll get things set up, and then all we have left to do is dessert. I want you to keep in mind it's only 7:30, and all we have left to make is dessert. So this is a meal that you could make at home very quickly with a little bit of preparation, and it's really it's nice enough to serve for company. I mean, if you wanted to use it. So, okay, so I'm going to get ready to eat. You got to get up again. I have a couple of sticks, about a stick and a half of butter in this fry pan, and I'm going to get that heated up. And I'm going to use canned peaches for this, but if you have regular, it's summertime and you have fresh peaches, that's fine, use those. I'm just going to drain these. Oh, that must be the Food Network. Who's calling? Okay, I'm just going to get these drained. And I'm going to use 3 of these, okay, because you guys look hungry. So you guys like dessert. So I have the butter getting ready to melt. Let me get that. Cut that up a little bit. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to cook the peaches in brown sugar, a little bit of lemon, and some cinnamon, and in this pot here, I have raspberry jam or raspberry preserves, whatever you want to use. And I'm going to heat that up because that's going to be, when it gets loose and melted, that's going to be a sauce that we're going to put on top. And then we're going to top the whole thing. We're going to have peaches, ice cream, raspberry sauce, and ginger snaps. Okay, that's going to be our dessert. It has all of the same flavors as a peach Melba dessert. Okay, so I got the butter going. I'm going to put some brown sugar in here. One time I was teaching over in Bemis Point, and I don't know if you were here when I told this story. I was making bananas Foster, which you basically start the same way, with brown sugar and butter. But when you get to the end, you add rum into it, and then you light it, so it's flambé. Well, when I was cooking that, I was cooking it right underneath the fire alarm thing, and all of a sudden the flames go flying up, it hits the thing, all the alarms go off, all the fire engines go off, and fire alarms in Bemis Point go off, but luckily somebody who was in the class was the fire chief at that time, so he kind of just made a few phone calls and took care of it. So, so I'm always careful about when I do flambé stuff. I don't know where it is in here, but I'm sure it's not right above the stove. Okay, so we got that going. That's getting fairly melted. This is starting to loosen up. And just to take off that little bit of a store-bought taste, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lemon zest to this and some lemon juice. Okay, that always takes away that little store-bought taste. Okay, take it off the heat for a little bit. That's like if you use Cool Whip a lot, and you want to freshen it up a little bit, put in like a teaspoon of vanilla extract, or you could put a teaspoon of lemon juice and then a little bit of lemon zest, and whip it all up. It doesn't taste like it's store-bought, so just gives it a different taste. Okay, make sure when you're zesting the lemon that you only get the yellow part, not the white. The white's very bitter. This is a microplane. If you do a lot of zesting, you'd want to get one of these. You can get them on almost any store right now. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to add the juice. Remember, if the lemons are hard, you can put them in your microwave for about 10 seconds. It'll get the juices flowing inside. Okay, and then when you squeeze them with this side up. The seeds will be all on top and won't plop inside. Okay, so just hold it up like this. and you'll get a lot of juice out of it. Or you could roll it on the counter. So get that mixed in. Ooh. Okay, take that off. And all you want to do is loosen it up, so you don't have to worry about getting it really hot or boiling it. Okay, this is ready to go. That's all melted. I'm going to add some cinnamon. And I'm going to add a little bit of nutmeg. Nutmeg is a strong spice, so you really don't want to add a whole lot. Okay, just give that a stir. Add the peaches. And basically what we're doing now is just going to toss these around in that syrup until the peaches get nice and warm. They're not going to get any color on them. You know, they're just going to get nice and warm. And I don't know if you could smell it, but it smells wonderful. Okay, let those hang out. Again, I'm going to add to this, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest and lemon juice to this. So this is kind of hard. So if you just take it on the counter and roll it, that'll get the juices flowing inside. Whoops. Don't zest it before you cut it, okay? Just put a little bit in. Again, this just gives it another level of flavor. And a little bit of the juice. If you had some raspberry liqueur at your house, Courvoisier or whatever, no, not Courvoisier, what's it called? Chambord. If you had a little bit of that and you wanted to pop a little of that in here at that time. Okay, so this is just about done. Okay, we got that going. For the topping, we're going to use ginger snaps. Okay, just put them, take your ginger snaps, put them in a bag, and you're going to find something to smash them up. You could use a rolling pin or a large can of tomatoes, or put them in your food processor. You don't want a powder, you just want to get a nice little bit so you have a little crunch on top. Okay, that's it. We're ready. I'm going to need an able assistant who wants to dish out ice cream. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to put some ice cream in a bowl, we're going to put some peaches on it, we're going to put some sauce on it, and then we're going to put some of the cracker crumbs on top. Okay, I'm going to put some of the peaches in here, some of the juice, a little bit of the sauce. And then some of the crackers, the ginger snaps. Okay, oops, get wiped up. Okay, here's one done. Well, that was our cooking plan for today. I hope those of you in class enjoyed eating the meal prepared, learned a few new cooking shortcuts, and will try these recipes at home. To those of you watching at home, I'd like to thank you for being with us and encourage you to join us in class. And remember, from my family to yours, always make time for family and friends by sharing a great meal around your kitchen table.